Hey everyone, Paul here from Body Leadership Australia, BL Physio, and I'm here with Ange. Hey Ange.
Hey Paul. Hi everyone.
Hey, we had a couple of questions come in. Mary and Masaki were wondering about getting back to running after having a baby, and it's a really, really good question.
It is.
Yeah. So a couple of things. I guess it's very varied for different individuals, but probably first thing is you've got to get doctor's clearance first. So probably that's the real set in stone piece, and that's usually a 6 to 8 week checkup is when you'll have that doctor visit. And we have seen scenarios where people have been cleared. They're usually people that are quite fit leading into a pregnancy, and they've been cleared to start running. They would start very, very gentle. That's probably the top percentile of people. So don't worry if that's not you.
Absolutely.
You've had 2 kids.
Yes.
I'm very much aware.
Yes, so I've been very lucky to have 2 kids.
Yes.
A little while ago now, but can still remember every bit of it. So.
Yeah, 9, and 11.
Yeah, that's right.
And so when did you feel confident to start getting back into activity?
Yeah, so I think the first thing is, especially when it's your first child, everything is just so new, so overwhelming, that those first few weeks is just, you're just coping, you're learning. So with Jason, it was more about just focusing on my pelvic floor exercises that I've been given at the hospital, and I suppose I was really lucky because of my Pilates background. I knew the huge importance of that. So my focus in that first early days was purely those simple pelvic floor exercises, just to get everything firing.
So when you first started, how long did you hold it for?
So with the pelvic floor, it was really just trying to get it to fire, and that's probably the hardest thing. Straight after you've given birth. So it's that in and up type of feeling that we're trying to get that connection. So it was just a few seconds to start with.
Or you could get it to fire.
Yeah, and I was lucky because I understood before the baby what that felt like. So trying to send the message to the right area. Once I got that feeling, then I just build on it. So a couple of seconds, 5 seconds, 10-second holds. But what I was really aware of was that if I couldn't hold it any longer, then I'd let it go, because I wanted to know each time that I was doing it correctly, because I was just wanting to rebuild those foundations.
So you're getting the isometrics going. So isometric being it just contracts, it doesn't actually move, and then once you've got that working, then you probably progress to your more functional stuff down the track.
Definitely. So after that was building on my Pilates exercises, focusing on my transverse abdominis. The next step.
It's a tough time.
Yeah, it's a tough time. And then the next step after that was simple walking. Finding a friend that I could go for a walk with, or with Paul. They weren't big walks, but they were just walks to get everything moving. But in conjunction with the walking, I was doing some very, very basic Pilates exercises as well, and I think that for me was so important. Really, really simple things. It was after that sort of 6-week sort of period where I was able to just focus on my simple transverses.
Yeah, so transverse is obviously being guided by what your health practitioner has told you, and then when they give you clearance to then start doing some more strength work, that was for you about 8 weeks, 6 8 weeks?
Yeah, 6 8 weeks. But again, I was able to introduce it in a very small way. So simple things, just like setting my stomach, so focusing on my 4 layers of muscles, drawing down. So it started with the pelvic floor, and then I'd incorporated it more to the abdominal region. And then the days that I felt like I had the energy, I had the time, simple things like where I'm lying on my back, just like a simple knee opening.
So lying on back with knees bent up, and then
very small knee open, but
while you're concentrating on.
Absolutely. So I'm holding my transverses. Also, obviously, starting to strengthen my obliques again. Being aware that was no more than about 5 exercises, like knee openings. I was doing a simple leg lift.
So again, lying on back with knees bent, and then up into tabletop position.
Yeah.
Hold and then just straight down.
Yeah, so that's like a leg lift where you're just lifting it up and down, but you're not. The thing that you've got to be aware of, and you need to make sure that you're doing it correctly. As I said, I was very privileged because I knew the exact exercises that I could do safely, and I knew my body. So obviously that's something you need to obviously check. But for me, I knew that I needed to get everything back together. So it was a simple matter of making sure my transversus was working, making sure my obliques were starting to fire, making sure that my glutes, that the stabilizers in my glutes were starting to fire again, obviously to help my pelvis come back into
because they all work together, and that's what I mean. We see that just with running, and obviously after birth, nothing's working so well. So stomach's going to take a little bit to fire up. Glutes are really going to struggle, and they kind of go hand in hand. So it's almost stomach, pelvic floor, glutes, and then particularly with running, transfers to quads as well.
Absolutely, and I think especially if you're wanting to get back into running, like my first need was to get everything back together safely and effectively, then start walking and then start running. So I wasn't putting too much pressure on myself, but obviously if you are wanting to get back into that running, that's why I probably can't emphasize enough how important those first few basic Pilates exercises really work, because if you can get the foundations right, obviously then when you start to run, especially when we've gone through these body changes, you can trust that everything's sort of there for you rather than just, I've got to run,
100%. And then, because depending on your time frames, again, you've got to get doctor's clearance to be able to start running, and it'll often, as I said before, it'll depend on potentially your activity leading
and also,
into post.
I mean, also what your birth has been like.
True.
I mean, I've been lucky to have 2, and a lot of you may have had more than that, and they were 2 complete different births. So you've got to factor in those. And I think the other thing too is, for those of you out there, if it's your first time, you're just coping with so much more than when it's your second, third, or however many, because you understand a bit more, and then you can focus on your body, and also your body kind of knows what it's been through.
So getting back to running, obviously it depends on so many variables. We're always aware that the relaxin, the hormone in your body that makes it kind of looser and more sort of floppy, isn't it?
Helps us have a baby.
Helps you have a baby. That's exactly right. You say it better than me. That's still in the body up to 5-6 months after birth. So as you were saying, getting that core ready to be able to then run is really important, because what did it feel like when you first started to do a bit of running? What did it feel like when you first got into it?
I mean, it just feels like it's not your body. Do you know what I mean? And that you, I suppose, especially for me, I was quite in tune with how I felt. So it just that essence of making sure I was doing those simple exercises. The more I did them gently and did them correctly, the more I could start to feel that I was gaining that core strength that I needed to help my pelvic alignment, help my knee alignment, help all those things that we're thinking about. And obviously the other thing was just keeping it on the flat, not staying away from hills and things like that if I could.
Exactly right. So the other piece is, if you are starting back into it, is you start very slowly. So we would think of it almost like rehabbing back from a significant injury. It's not an injury as such, but your body has changed. And so you start very gentle. When you get that approval, remember, you want to start running, and you'll be like a puppy dog being led off a chain. You want to get back running. So the trap is that you go and do a lot of Ks or a long run, and it's either really uncomfortable or you actually injure yourself again. So go extremely conservative. Like we always encourage our ladies to start off with just 30-second jogs, and that's just a really slow jog, and then a 4.5-minute walk. And we would do that like 10 times, and then we just slowly, incrementally go up from there. So then we do 1 minute and 4 minutes, 1.5 minute and 3.5. So we go up like that, and we never go more than 30 minutes straight up. So just be aware that you want to look after yourself. Your goal, when you finally do get the tick of approval, is that you want to run now, and then you want to incrementally be able to do it and get back to your normal routine.
Absolutely, and I think it's just you know, don't put that pressure on yourself. Get out there, get your body back, be active. You know, we all need that,
Yeah.
but don't set the bar too high, because if you push too hard,
Going backwards,
Yeah.
you've got to watch it.
Especially when you're trying to look after a bub, that's not what you.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
want
I
at the same
know.
time.
They don't. Yeah, I was going to say you're never off the clock.
No.
One other thing, the separation, so the RAD, the rectus abdominis diastasis. With a lot of pregnancies, as you know, you can get the separation between the muscles in your stomach. How did you go with that?
I was pretty lucky, and I feel blessed because of all my Pilates. I went into the pregnancies pretty fit, but in saying that, I was also really aware that I didn't want to be too strong, because there's still that risk that it could be potentially worse. So
yeah, so it can really vary.
you
between
don't want to go
individuals.
in thinking, oh, I'm super,
Yeah.
you know,
Super
ripped
strong.
or tight
Yeah.
anyway. But I think mine still did separate. It was probably 1.5, 2 max, but I could feel that, and for me that, you know, I was very aware of that, and it still came back to when I started focusing on my transverses, which is where I'm just gently drawing my abdominals in without clinching them. I was really aware of, I suppose in my mind, that idea of it's meshing back together.
Cinching, yeah.
And then as I was slowly able to build up on that, it's helped.
Yeah.
But it's
cool.
and even working with clients that have had that separation, it's slow and steady, you
Yeah.
know, and rewiring those muscles back together.
They will usually come back to
Yeah.
a certain extent, and it'll usually be about 12 months. So be patient. If it's longer than that, again, it's
It's just
not a race.
no, it isn't a race, and I think as you were saying, like even with being able to walk and do some Pilates and do some running, it was still 12 months, even maybe 18 months, so I felt like I had
Your body.
my body back, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, that's true.
So don't put your pressure on yourself thinking 6 weeks like the stars, you've got to be.
Yeah, exactly right.
It's just
Yeah,
not-
that's what we said at the
yeah.
start. Just because some people get clearance to run at 6 to 8 weeks, very commonly 9 months. Like, so it is a massive sort of framework there.
And in that time, though, you can be.
You
pelvic
can be
flooring,
increasing,
you
exactly
can still
right.
be working your core.
There's-
You don't have to be sitting at home thinking, oh my gosh, I can't do anything.
There's back to swimming when
Absolutely.
you get clearance. There's
Yeah.
the bike. There's so many options available. One of those other things with the linear elbow, the separation, is don't go hard on your sit-ups. So don't probably
Oh,
avoid your
definitely.
sit-ups
No.
in that early time frame, because that won't help it. It will make it worse.
Absolutely. So definitely avoid any. Really focus on those exercises where you're lying on your back, working your transverses. Get someone how to show you how to do them properly, because that's the key. It's the key to get them right before you even attempt to sit up, because sit-ups done badly, especially after pregnancy, can cause a world of problems.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess the one other thing that we're aware of is water with post-pregnancy. Is that as mums, you're going to need a fair bit of water, because a litre a day anyway. That's just normal. But whenever you're feeding, you're losing fluid, so you want to replace that. So for every feed, you'd be thinking about possibly a glass of water to replace that. So that's above you're a litre a day, and then if you're active, then you want to increase that as well.
Well, I hope that helps.
Yeah, I hope it helps. We are through it now.
Yeah, we're not having any more. We're two kids, 2 dogs. The only thing that'll be coming is possibly another dog, if that.
No more dogs. There's no more dogs coming. No, thanks, Ange.
You're welcome, Paul.
Thanks to Mariam Masaki for sending that question in. If you have any more questions, always just send them through. Send them through to the Body Leadership page, the Facebook page, and we'll try to answer as many as we possibly can. Again, it can be about anything. We can come back to this topic. It's probably a good one. If you want to, let us know, because we can actually go through and practically take you through 5 of your simple exercises. Probably a good one to do. So if you want it, let us know in the comments. But yeah, I'm Paul with Angela from Body Leadership, BL Physio. Have a great week. We will catch you soon.